We're here covering the campaign of Jeremy Corbyn in Islington North.
I'm appalled by Keir Starmer more than I am by Rishi Sunak.
Rishi Sunak.
Sorry.
How could you not care about politics in Islington North?
Lots of people have voted Labour their whole lives, and specifically for Jeremy, but they don't know he's running as independent this time.
We're going to fight back, and this is what the fight back looks like.
Today we are in sunny, frankly sweltering Islington North, the constituency of one Jeremy Corbyn. Jeremy Corbyn contested this seat at the last two general elections whilst also being the Labour Party leader. Today, in 2024, he's not even a member of the party. He's standing as an independent. He's been the constituency's MP since 1983. He's never been democratically deselected by the membership. He's been repeatedly voted for by the constituency. And because he chose to stand as an independent, he then got expelled from the Labour Party, because of course you can't be a Labour Party member and standing against a Labour candidate. Those are the rules. According to exclusive polling commissioned by Novara media, here in Islington North, Jeremy Corbyn is incredibly popular. His personal approval ratings, I think, are more than 20 plus. That's not usual for politicians, by the way, in the 2020s. He's more popular as an individual in this constituency than the Labour Party. But here's the thing. Despite being very personally popular, Labour are polling ahead of him, by quite a margin actually. You've got Labour in the low 40s, according to this same polling commissioned by Novara Media, and you have Jeremy Corbyn in the high 20s. For me, that rings alarm bells. Why? Well, postal votes have already dropped, and Labour, by being the party that's ruled this part of the capital city for a very long time in both national and local government, will have a ton of data on voters. A ton. They have a machine built over many decades to maximise their vote. Jeremy Corbyn, meanwhile, well, he doesn't. So what we know already, before we've spoken to a single person today, amongst these lovely foxgloves and lavender plants here in Islington North, is that Jeremy Corbyn so far has failed to translate that personal popularity, that personal mandate, into his re-election efforts as an independent. Why? I suspect not enough people know, actually, that he's not standing as a Labour candidate. And secondly, he's not had a campaign. Jeremy Corbyn, if nothing else, is a very decent, honourable man, and it seems he simply refused to believe that Labour would stop him from standing. He was a member until the very last moment. Maybe that exclusive Novara media polling is wrong. Maybe he can turn it around with that momentum, those hashtags, those activists. Maybe he can get the vote out in a way that's actually more commensurate with the 2017 election campaign nationally. Maybe he might surprise a few people. Frankly, we have no idea, and that's why we're in Islington North. So let's see how his campaign is panning out, and also how his constituents feel about the man himself.
I canvassed in the EU referendum first, and then I've canvassed it for Labour under Jeremy, and also for the Greens a bit.
And are you Green Party members? Are you members of other political parties? Are you Labour members? Presumably not.
I'm not a member of any political party.
Ex-Labour member.
Yeah, ex-Labour.
X. Why X?
Because of their treatment of Jeremy Corbyn, because of the policies, because of the abandonment, because of Starmer's lies, lots of things.
What do you think about Keir Starmer?
I dislike him strongly.
So why are you canvassing for Jeremy Corbyn? Your first time ever. Why?
Well, this election I got involved with Green New Deal Rising because I want to support candidates who have like a positive message of change for the future and care about the environment and also care about workers' rights and want to give a positive message right now with politics becoming so polarised.
Jeremy Corbyn is the only candidate who's calling for an end of arms sales to Israel, and at the moment, me as an 18-year-old woman who's seeing what's going on in the world and seeing all the outrages in the world, that is the most important thing to me to happen at this moment, because this is the ongoing crisis and the ongoing genocide in Gaza. The other issues that Corbyn is calling to end are not what we're seeing in Keir Starmer's manifesto. It's not what we're seeing with the Tories, of course, and both parties are are seemingly the same at the moment.
We're here with GNDR, which is Green New Deal Rising, an environmental group as well. And I think Labour's policies in the environment have been absolutely abysmal. Like this year, they've just reneged on all their climate commitments. And I find that so disappointing as a young person. And on Palestine, they've been horrific. I think the fact they didn't commit to supporting a ceasefire, which is the bare minimum, immediately, I think is absolutely devastating and a real reflection of their broader values, I think, as a party now.
I'm appalled by Keir Starmer more than I am by Rishi Sunak. I think you can tell enough about him by the fact that he's a sir. I think that any real socialist, any real candidate for the Labour Party, which was founded on views of socialism and equality, would never accept a knighthood.
And what difference are you looking to make as people canvassing?
Our role is to just get people to know that he's running as an independent significantly, because that's so rare in the UK. Lots of people have voted Labour their whole lives, and specifically for Jeremy, but they don't know he's running as independent this time. So it's really important to have a grassroots campaign to build that awareness.
So I get a sense, even from some of the people that are campaigning here, there's a recognition of the limits, right? You know, it's not often that you speak to people in their teens, early 20s who are like, logistically, we're not where we'd like to be. Is there a recognition of that with the campaign as well?
Well, but yes, because Labour started with all the data, the big machine, you know, the resources, everything else. They've got all the advantages. We've had kind of 3 weeks so far to try and build a campaign from nothing since Jeremy announced he was going to stand as an independent. So we've had no data. So our entire campaign is based on people coming volunteering for us, like the people from Green New Deal Rising and so on today. Because we need to physically go round to every house and speak to as many voters in person as possible to get the message across that Jeremy Corbyn is standing as an independent this time. He's not standing for Labour, because lots of people don't know, or they don't know what that means. And so it's about personal communication, and that's really why it's such a huge people-powered effort that we're trying to do.
We have seen the most impressive manifesto that I've ever seen in my life so far. How can you see this and not agree with every single thing in it? Because it's all for making a positive change to society.
My colleague overheard a conversation you had with Corbyn a moment ago. What did you say?
So we was experiencing homelessness here in Islington, and the council offered me a property, but it was taking forever to come, and at the same time we was fleeing domestic abuse, and I was stuck in this flat, and obviously we was unsafe. So I emailed Jeremy Corbyn directly, and he spoke to the council, and now we have this beautiful 2-bed council property, but it's like a converted house. It's so gorgeous, and it's in a nice area, and it's like from where we came from to this now, and it was because of him.
I promise that you weren't canvassing, you just happened to pass by and...
I saw him down there, I was like, I need to say thank you.
I am fighting this election as an independent because the Labour Party refused to allow local democracy to take its course. We stood up against that and said, no, we're going to fight back, and this is what the fight back looks like. Let's take some hope out onto the streets now, knock on those doors and get the votes in for July the 4th. Thank you very
much. So, Jeremy, there's 5 different sessions canvassing today for you.
Yep.
And it's looking quite close. How are you feeling about the campaign generally?
Very excited, very proud of what we've achieved in less than 4 weeks to set up this huge campaign and this huge demand for a radical form of politics and inclusion in our political lives. So I'm very proud of what we've done. Long way to go. We're still a week and a bit away from election day, but I'm hopeful.
Represent us.
Of course, my brother.
And then finally, on the Labour candidate, how present is he? Have you seen him around? Have you seen?
Well, no, I haven't. I've seen him once at a meeting of the candidates and agents, but that was it. He has declined to attend any debate, declined to do interviews for the local papers, and he and the Tory together vetoed a general debate that the local papers wanted to organise by saying they absolutely, both of them, refused to take part, so the debate was cancelled.
You know that we love you with all our hearts.
Thank you, darling. With your support...
Also the Americans, we are with you.
Sí, todos los American Latinos.
Yes,
It's voto para Jeremías y los izquierdistas, ¿ok?
Sí, señor.
¿Dónde vienes? ¿Qué país?
Ecuador.
Ecuador. Viva Ecuador.
How often a day are you being stopped by people? I mean, I know it's always happened because you're the MP.
Every 2 minutes.
Yeah, I bet. Is that a problem in terms of campaigning?
Yeah. Yeah,
disrupting you constantly.
But you actually meet more people walking around the streets than you do knocking on doors. Hello. Hello, love. How are you doing?
We've been walking, I swear to God, 100 metres, stopped 4 times.
The local party was denied any participation whatsoever in the selection process. I was specifically denied my name even being put forward to anybody, and a short list of 1 arrived, and that was the candidate. And so nobody nominated, nobody voted for, nobody selected, but they all stuck with. It's not very good.
What does that say, do you think, about how Keir Starmer will govern? Do you think that's like an indication of...
There's some worrying signs about authoritarianism in the Labour Party. And authoritarianism in a political party is a bad thing, obviously, because the whole lifeblood of politics ought to be democratic. Now, I fully understand that in the urgency of an election campaign, you have to have a speeded up procedure. I know that. But it also has to be a procedure that works and does involve local decision making. Hey! How you doing?
Just crazy. We were walking, like I said, for about 100 metres. 4 different people stopped us. Then we've walked for 5 minutes, and I think we've been stopped, 6 times? 7 times? The level of recognition he has, I mean, he can just walk around the constituency and it's campaigning, right? How many MPs can say that?
So remember, independent, not Labour, because he'll be the second on the ballot paper, and he won't have a picture, he won't have a little thing next to him. I just spoke with a voter and was informing them that Jeremy's running as an independent candidate, and that she needs to consciously vote for him rather than just vote for Labour, which normally happens. And it was really lovely. She was super enthusiastic and really likes Jeremy, which is always good to hear. There's someone gone into those flats already, so which ones have you got to?
13 voting Jeremy, knows he's an independent.
Hang on, what door number? What was your last 13. Door number?
Obviously, your very first doors that you've knocked on so far, what was the feedback?
Lots of people were voting for Corbyn. It was really positive. We had one who was unsure. They were planning on going Labour, and we managed to, we gave him passion speeches, and they actually said that they changed their mind, which was amazing.
Yeah, I think that one was really interesting because the Labour candidate actually come round and talked to them. But then we just wanted to talk about why personally I'm voted, why we believed in Corbyn, believing about our futures and how Corbyn's has a history of actually talking about issues that I'm passionate about.
Where else are you going to canvass with Green New Deal?
We're canvassing in Brighton Pavilion, and we're canvassing in Bristol Central, and we're canvassing here today, and tomorrow we're canvassing for Ilford North. What's she called? Liam Mohammed.
So how did that go?
Yeah, it was good. We're definitely a lot of positive energy for Jeremy, and also some mixed views of people who maybe don't know that he's running as an independent just yet or are still undecided. So I definitely think there's still quite a big push needed for his campaign. But yeah, definitely his reputation precedes him, and people are really buzzing about the campaign as well. I think it would be one of the seats that I'm most closely watching in this election. I think he has a really big chance to stand as an independent, win as an independent. And yeah, from all the independents running in this election, I also think he has the best chance to really get over the line.
So that was a really interesting 40 minutes. But if you were a sceptic, you might say, well, look, what's it like if you're at home and somebody knocks on the door and it's a young activist who's full of energy and, saying, hello, how are you going to vote? I've never seen you before, what's going on? You might have that scepticism. They were received really well. And also what's really interesting is that speaking to people in their early 20s who are laser focused on messaging and what needs to happen, that wasn't really happening in 2019. And I think probably as a movement, the left, the Green left, defeat can be quite useful, right? Defeat over several years can make you quite realistic. If people were doing that every weekend for 3-4 months, I don't think there would be any doubt whatsoever that Jeremy Corbyn would be winning here. I think he'd be 30, 40, 50 points ahead. So where are we going next? It's a good question. Here at Novara Media, we wouldn't want to create an unrepresentative picture. So that means going back to Highbury and Islington Station. There is a group canvassing people there. We won't be joining them. We will be vox popping people, that's right. we'll be talking to members of the Great British public. And we'll be finding out what they've got to say about Jeremy Corbyn. Can I ask you about the general election, who you're planning to vote for? How could you not care about politics in Islington North? We're here covering the campaign of Jeremy Corbyn in Islington North.
Right.
What do you think about him?
If you ask me, I'm very apolitical. I would never vote for anybody in my life. If there was somebody I would put a vote to, it would be that guy. Why? Because of the Palestine thing. Only person.
Do you think that's a common issue here, that people are saying this guy's standing up for Palestine, we're going to vote for him? Or
It's not about Palestine. It's because everybody else they're trash. You know what I mean? Like they're just not good. They're just not good human beings. So when you see Jeremy Corbyn go into your mosque, speaking about things that actually matter for the normal human being, that makes a difference.
Can I ask you who you're planning to vote for in the general election?
Sorry.
You're not planning to vote? Okay. Who are you voting for?
I live in Europe, so no one.
Anyone but the Tories.
Fuck Rishi Sunak.
Have you heard of a guy called Jeremy Corbyn?
Yeah.
You've heard of him?
Yeah.
But he's not running for Labour.
Oh, but fuck.
He's running independent.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. I love this shirt, by the way.
Thanks, man.
So you know that he's an independent. You know that. How did you know that?
I saw it on TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Are your parents planning to vote? Is that something people talk about?
I think they'll vote for Labour.
If I saw Rishi Sunak, I'll get in trouble for what I'm going to say. I hate them.
I'm a single issue climate voter. I'll vote for the party that has the best climate policy of those that are going to get elected, and that's Labour. I think the Greens' climate policy is good in some respects, like they recognise the scale of the issue, but you can't balance a grid and make it net zero without a lot of nuclear power, so their anti-nuclear stance is unscientific and I think a bit reactionary, but having a base load of nuclear with a lot of wind power, a lot of solar power, battery storage, and then combined cycle gas turbines to balance the grid until we get there is the way to do it, and that's what Labour are advocating. And I think Ed Miliband's switched on and he'll do a good job with it. They're a bit shit on trans people, which is disappointing, and I hate that. So I'm not enthusiastically voting Labour. I'm enthusiastically voting anti-Tory because we're either going to get a Labour government or a Tory government.
Did you know that Jeremy Corbyn is an independent? He's not standing for Labour. You knew that?
Yeah, I knew that. I know that very well, yes. He would get my vote in any of the other candidates. So.
And what do you think of Keir Starmer and Rishi Sunak?
Well, they're more the same.
More the same?
Yeah, more the same, yeah. Nothing different really from there. Because there's nothing much you could choose from, because, I mean, Labour was more on the socialist side, but now there isn't much really difference between them and Sunak.
Jeremy Corbyn is like, I love 80% of him, and then there's 20% where I'm just like, come on, man.
Like what?
Just like, shut the fuck up. Like after Salisbury being like, well, maybe Russia are right and it's not, you know, or like if Jeremy Corbyn had been Prime Minister during the war in Ukraine, I think our response as a country would have been worse. And like, I don't know, there's this real trend in leftism to be really good on like 80% of policies, and the other 20% I'm just like what you're saying would be great in a world where there weren't hostile state actors who existed. Like, it would be so perfect if you were, like, if we lived in this world that you imagine, that you want to live in and you want to strive for, then absolutely, I agree, we shouldn't have Trident and there should be no war. But unfortunately, Netanyahu is a fascist fuck and he's going to do that. And Hamas are bad people and are going to do shit things. And, like, you're reacting to the world you want, not the world you have.
Yeah, good. How you doing?
Novara Media.
That's right. Yeah.
How are you guys?
Yeah, good.
How's Michael S? You guys doing great.
Oh, thank you so much.
You know, Palestinian cause and everything. Whenever you guys talk, it's like so much honesty and truth in it.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. And Reform getting MPs, is that something you think about? Nigel Farage could be an MP?
No, I don't think so. No, I just think Nigel is more hype. You know, a little more Trumpy hype, say things and get attention, really. And the press love this sort of, the British press love this sort of hype up and oh, Nigel Farage said this and he said that.
Who are you voting for in the general election?
I'm good, thanks.
Who are you voting for?
Labour, probably.
I'm going to vote for Mavis Staples tonight because I've got to get to the concert right now.
Go on.
I've already voted.
Have you? Who did you vote for?
Green.
Leftists in general should say the things that Jeremy Corbyn says and dress like Keir Starmer. You're not gonna. The way you appeal to Middle England is by wearing a suit and tie and singing the national anthem and then winning the argument about why we need redistribution of wealth and why we need progressive taxation and why we need more infrastructure and why leftist economics works. In Islington, when it's an incredibly safe seat, go for it, go play ball. And I want there to be pressure on the Labour Party from the left because I want Labour to go further to the left. I think that would be tickety-boo. If Corbyn runs and wins, good. I think either way is probably good for Keir Starmer's version of the Labour Party as well.
One of the problems that he's got is that people love him,
Yeah.
but they still think he's a Labour MP. So they're like, oh, I'll vote Labour, I'm voting Jeremy Corbyn. Is that something that people that you speak to or they still think he's a Labour MP?
No. I think everyone knows because as much as we know, everyone think no, because he didn't want it to become a member of parliament this time. As much as I know, because I see him all the time in our mosque. He comes, but people who are requesting him, no, we want you as our MP. And he said, okay, then Labour Party, I think, doesn't want him anymore.
Yeah.
That's why he's become himself independent candidate.
Yeah.
He gonna win, inshallah.
And who are you planning to vote for in the general election?
Fucking anyone but Tories.
Anyone but Tories? Yeah. Do you live in this constituency?
That's not even true. Fuck Farage as well.
Fuck Farage. Is it lads on the beers saying fuck Farage? Media stereotypes aren't what they were.
Don't play the game. Don't get sucked into the argument. Don't give them the chink in the armour for the argument of trying to be so pure and so not of the system that you forget that the system is what provides power in this country, is what I would say, very briefly.
Just to be clear, I would normally wear a shirt and blazer. Today is just very hot. So what have we learnt today? Firstly, it's hard to come away from the last 2 hours and not be certain that Jeremy Corbyn's going to win. Utterly certain. Because I couldn't walk more than 20 metres without being stopped. And I suppose that also has implications for him. How is it possible to remain objective, analytical, often strategic, when you're that famous, even in just one constituency? It must be really hard. But the truth is, we know this is not going to be a walk in the park for Jeremy Corbyn. We actually know that polling suggests he's significantly behind the Labour candidate. It's not over, but it's an uphill battle, which indicates what we've seen over the last several hours is not representative of the broader picture. Well, why is that? Well, it's because it's actually very hard to win general elections without a major political party. The response they've got to that is, of course, this massive canvassing operation. People have said to me that on the day of the election, they want 2,000 people canvassing for Jeremy Corbyn, because of course 2,000 people get 10 people each, that's 20,000 votes, he wins. Now I'm sure if they get 2,000 people canvassing for Jeremy Corbyn on election day, they stand an excellent chance of winning. And you can't really integrate that into polling because it's unusual, to say the least. It doesn't really happen. I think it might be without precedent. One thing that I find really fascinating from today is that the people from Green New Deal Rising were canvassing for Jeremy Corbyn today, but they were canvassing for Sian Berry yesterday. What happens to that energy, those organisations, those individuals, those ideas, in the context of Labour having a majority of 100, 150, not being able to deliver? Does it get bigger? Does it expand? Or does it shrink, shrivel and die? I think it's the former, personally, of course. The problem, of course, for Jeremy Corbyn is that London is always changing. London has a significantly transient population. The people most likely to support Jeremy Corbyn, people on low incomes, renters, ethnic minorities, are less likely to vote, just a statistical fact. The people that are the most likely to vote are less likely to support him. particularly the well-off, affluent people. Now, we're on a really nice road. I can't believe I'm actually saying this. This is literally happening in real time. This is a good snapshot. And wait, one there, two there. This is literally in the space of 20 metres. Oh, this is classic, look at this. Vote Labour. Bin, magic, grandpa. And we've got another one. Well, what I would say is that the canvassing point is really germane, and something that people said to me repeatedly is that, another one, is that if they get enough people out in the next week, Jeremy Corbyn wins. Now, if you like Jeremy Corbyn, if you think that we need more MPs who are going to be to the left of Labour to hold Starmer to account or to push climate agenda or Gaza in a positive direction in British politics, you might want to be one of them. But believe me, it'll make a difference. And that's something to think about. You know, if you want to make a change, you've got a few days free before the general election. Maybe you want to come here and canvass, I don't know. We have loved making these videos. They have been so much fun. I'm thinking of a series maybe in the future where we do more of them in a non-general election context. Where would you like us to go? Who would you like us to talk to? And what would you like us to talk about? Because believe me, the most interesting stories in Britain today, by and large, not in Islington North, but by and large, are happening outside the M25. So put that in the comments if you want me to continue making these videos, and if you do, where should we go?